Hello and welcome to Ropey Opinions. You may have noticed something subtly different about my appearance. This is because yesterday I had to watch WWE Crown Jewel, and I'm about to say some very negative things about it for blindingly obvious reasons, and I know exactly where the Saudi Arabian authorities feel about people who express an opinion contrary to their own, so I'm protecting my identity. Ropey Opinions isn't even my real name. Let's get this out of the way early doors. This is going to be a mixed video. It's going to be a combination of two extremely vitriolic rants with some random piss taking about WWE in the middle. It's mostly going to be anger. Let's start with the absolute state of this. Cody Rhodes, for those of you who can't be bothered to read all this, is basically saying that if you aren't a wonderfully sculpted creature of perfection like he is, it's okay for the fans to have a go at you. I mean, I've helpfully attached, running across the bottom of the screen right now, is a list of all the times when it's okay to body shame someone. You get all that? Let's ignore the fact that Cody Rhodes was born into this business and has more money than sense and can obviously pay for whatever personal trainer he needs to look like that, and the fact that not everyone can do that. On a very, very basic level, it's not okay to body shame someone just because you think they look silly. And on a slightly more elaborate level that even he should be able to grasp, if someone's prepared to strap themselves into some latex, do I mean latex? If someone's prepared to strap themselves into some lycra and then go and put themselves in the middle of the ring, throw themselves about for 10 minutes because it entertains you and you've paid to see them, how is it okay to shout "oi fatty" at them? You know? More to the point, if someone can do these athletic things despite being bigger, isn't that even more impressive? I don't know if you recognise this gentleman. This is Dusty Rhodes, he's Cody Rhodes' father. You know he's Cody Rhodes' father because Cody Rhodes never stops fucking banging on about him. According to Cody Rhodes' own logic, back during the WWF, WCW, NWA days, it would have been absolutely acceptable in his book for fans to shout, "Who ate all the pies?" at his father. Or his brother, early on in his career. Anyone remember that god-awful Piggy James angle, where Lakel was just having a go at Mickey James for being fat, despite the fact that Mickey James wasn't fat? Did Cody Rhodes write that? Was he instrumental in the creation of that angle? Has he always thought body shaming was funny? Everyone thought that angle was terrible. Everyone except Vince McMahon, and apparently Cody Rhodes, that's the company he's keeping. A few years ago now, WWE attempted to do this anti-bullying thing with Nia Jax, which is a bit odd, because Nia Jax's whole thing is that she bullies people who are smaller than her with her immense size and power. That and not being very good at professional wrestling. And it didn't really work because Nia Jax is 6 foot tall and the woman bullying her was Alexa Bliss, who is not 6 foot tall. But still, it was different and it was interesting. And it's like, yeah, speak up for those people who don't look like the perfect athlete. That's great. They can still be wrestlers. They can and they should still be wrestlers. But that was bollocks, apparently. There's this lad on the independent circuit called Will Cruz. He's fantastic. He's quick and he's incredibly strong. His personality is fantastic. He's a brilliant wrestler to watch. He's quite a big lad, and absolutely no one gives a shit. He looks amazing. He does amazing things in the ring. But according to the WWE champion, this paragon of virtue, the fans should all be just jeering him and body shaming him throughout the match because he doesn't look like fucking Cody Rhodes. The thing that really sucks about this, and we'll come back to this later, is that for quite a while Cody Rhodes was like a hero to everyone who hated WWE. And then he went back and he sold out. And I remember after WrestleMania 40, I said to my mate Mark, who's also a member of the Gangbang Gang, that he was probably right to sell out because he backed himself to get that WrestleMania moment for himself. But now I'm starting to wonder if he ever had a soul to sell. It started to feel like AEW was just a means to an end for him. And all he's ever been, really, is a arrogant, bullying arsehole. Now to the silly shit. This is actually something that's been on my mind for a while. The last couple of overseas shows WWE have done, France, Germany and Scotland, they felt the need to do this weird mid-show flex about what a great attendance they've had. And it's like 12,000 people. It's like, you're always banging on about how AEW can't sell out an arena and so forth. The 3 European shows they did this year came to considerably less total attendance between the 3 shows than AEW's one effort. Which brings us to Crown Jewel, which was in a stadium that looked about as big as my back garden. Apparently it holds 30,000 people. Bollocks. But that's not the point. This is in one of the richest countries in the world, which is why WWE went there. There's no other fucking reason. A country over which they have complete dominion, and they're booking a 30,000 seat stadium. Who's Major League now? Twats. I know that was really petty, but it fucks me off that the Vincels always saying, AEW can't fill a stadium, AEW's ratings are falling. Obviously, my core complaint about the IWC is the bullshit tribalism. You know, just because someone likes AEW doesn't mean they're automatically anti-WWE. Similarly, just because someone's pro-human rights doesn't mean they're automatically anti-WWE. I think they should be. But that brings me to my next point. Anytime, if you're an AEW fan, anytime you're in an internet argument with one of these fucktards, the argument should begin with the words, but Saudi Arabia. And if they don't immediately concede, then you're talking to a lesser form of life. If they genuinely think your company can't fill a stadium, your country gets worse ratings in NXT, is a good counterpoint to, but Saudi Arabia. Your company takes money from actual murderers, terrorists, human rights abusers. You're onto a loser. It isn't worth your time. Just disengage and go and do something more productive, like a big shit. I should just say before we get into this next bit that I like Jey Uso, I like the Usos. They're probably the best tag team in WWE history. They're not the best tag team in the world. They never have been and they never will be. Corey Graves just had to sneak that one in because WWE has penis envy over the Young Bucks and FTR because they let FTR go. They let FTR go! But Jey Uso is absolutely the answer to the question, how many tattoos are too many tattoos? What the fuck are those palm trees about? And the rest of it, it looks like he's wearing a bra. Also, I don't know what's happened, but somewhere down the line he's forgotten how to do a super kick. It's just embarrassing. People always having a go at the Young Bucks for spamming super kicks. It's like, yeah, well, that's because they know how. Jay and Jimmy stunk the joint out at WrestleMania doing super kicks because they apparently don't know any other moves, and they don't know how to do a super kick either. If you can do it well, absolutely do it a lot, but you can't. Because I insist on doing my reviews of these shit shows in chronological order, I'm going to have to go back to the anger. Corey Graves, love that little joke about virtue signalling. That was great, just because Sami Zayn was wearing a keffiyeh in support of Palestine. But apparently that's not allowed. Fuck knows why Sami was even there. I genuinely thought he was above that, but you know. And presumably that's the exact same reason why Corey said that, because his terrorist paymasters insisted that he strike down with great vengeance and furious anger someone daring to voice an opinion that wasn't theirs. On with the comedy, and I'm not calling myself a comedian, but that women's tag team title match, that was a fucking comedy, wasn't it? Jesus. They managed to make Io Sky more botch prone than Jade Cargill. That takes actual fucking skill, mate. I mean, that's like making a 3-year-old obese. It's almost impressive. Although it's also possible that the market leader, with the biggest roster in the world and apparently the best road agents and the best writers and everything else in the world, simply cannot book a multi-woman match without it ending in absolute disaster. Moreover, though, a match that obviously was designed to make women look stupid in Saudi Arabia, that's a whole new level of bullshit, isn't it? It was good to see Kiki Snatch back after she got kicked off Drag Race UK, though. Just a few other things to tick off. For some reason, Saudi Arabia PLEs get 7 matches, whereas European ones get 5. I wonder why that is. Seth Rollins is a fantastic professional wrestler. He's probably the best wrestler on the WWE roster, in my opinion, him or Styles. And if I had to choose someone to jump to AEW, it would be him, just because the matches he could have. Can you imagine Tyler Black versus Kenny Omega? Yes, I know it happened in Ring of Honor. Can you imagine that now? Fantasy booking, Kenny Omega doesn't even exist anymore. But there's no getting away from this. Seth freaking Rollins is a fucking stupid name. Why on earth do they think that man, with all he's done, needs a nickname? Why does it have to be freaking? Jesus. Just call him Seth BD Bollocks. Really amused me the whole, what if Ric Flair in his prime and met Hulk Hogan in his prime? They fucking did! They did! It wasn't very good. Everyone knows this. Can't put this off any longer. Fuck BM Punk, fuck BM Punk, fuck BM Punk. You call yourself the voice of the voiceless, yeah? You know who the voiceless are in the context of the event we've just been excreted out onto our TVs? It's women. Women in Saudi Arabia. Women who've only recently been allowed to drive, only recently been allowed to go abroad. Women who have almost no rights. Women who are second-class citizens. Women who are expected to be utterly subservient. It's homosexuals. You realise that just being yourself in Saudi Arabia is a punishable offence. It's trans people. It's literally anyone who isn't a man. It's anyone who dares to speak out against the Saudi government. These people are murderers, terrorists. The voiceless are the people they're keeping down. The people keeping them down are your employers. How does that sit with your fucking philosophy? How does that sit with you being the anti-establishment CM Punk? Which brings me back to this fucking guy. Would you fucking look at that? This is a guy who said, I want to start a revolution. This is a guy who said, this is a new way of doing pro wrestling. And now his idea of pro wrestling is getting paid money, a lot of money, no doubt, by actual murderers, by actual terrorists, by actual human rights abusers. And apparently that's more important than your fucking ethics or your revolution. I think we all know what Cody Rhodes is actually about at this point. Also, what the fuck is Liv Morgan doing? I don't care about the character, I'm talking about the actual woman, Gianna Daddio. She's stood there smiling with people who consider her property, consider her a servant, a slave, whatever. They consider her a second-class citizen, and she stood there with a great big smile on her face. I get it, she's probably got to do this for her job, but fucking hell, man. The psychology of becoming a professional wrestler fascinates me because you must have unbelievably unimpeachable self-esteem to go through what they go through to get to that level. And it's not a world I can imagine being part of, either the wrestling or the self-esteem. But at what point do you turn around to your boss and say, no, that's a horrible thing to do. I'm basically being a traitor to my own gender. And apparently that point has not yet been reached by Gianna Daddio, and fuck knows. I don't even know how these people sleep at night. And seriously, as I said before, if you're ever in an argument with a WWE fan and they're slagging you off because their area of this niche little thing that we all love is so much cooler or more original or whatever than your area, just say, but Saudi Arabia. And if they don't automatically withdraw and apologise, then they're probably not the sort of person you want to be anywhere near in case you catch what it is they've got. They probably vote for Donald Trump. And in the incredibly unlikely event of an American watching this, please don't vote for Donald Trump. Please. He's an actual fascist. And if you're too dumb to see that, you probably work for WWE. So thank you for watching, both of you. This week, Ropey Opinions has taken down human rights inequalities and global monopoly of an industry by corrupt people. Next week, I'll solve the climate crisis. Bye!